Well, guys, this seemed like it was going to happen sooner rather than later at some point. Iran is not backing down when it comes to enriching uranium and getting closer and closer to building a nuclear weapon. Trump has been saying from day one, and we're talking way back 2015, before he was even president the first time, he's been saying Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon, and everyone should be agreeing on that. Nobody wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon, but it's getting real serious now, and I'm hoping Trump is able to avoid U.S. direct involvement when it comes to this. But let's get right to it, guys. Israel strikes Iran's nuclear sites and kills top generals. Iran retaliates with missile barrages. United States, United Emiratis, Israel launched blistering attacks on the heart of Iran's nuclear and military structure Friday, deploying warplanes and drones previously smuggled into the country to assault key facilities and kill top generals and scientists. Israel asserted the barrage was necessary before its adversary got any closer to building an atomic weapon, although experts in the U.S. government have assessed that Iran was not actively working on such a weapon before the strikes. And real quick, guys, we got to stop right there for just a quick second, okay? They're saying they were not actively building a bomb. They had uranium enrichment that was multiples over the amount needed for civilian nuclear power. Okay? This is just full stop. They did not need to keep enriching uranium the way they were. They had enough enrichment to do nuclear power for just civilian purposes. Okay, so yeah, did they have a nuclear bomb? No, but did they enrich uranium enough to where they could get one very quickly? Yes. Okay, and that is a huge problem. All right, guys. But let's continue over here and see what we got. Iran retaliated by firing waves of ballistic missiles at Israel, where explosions flared in the skies over Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and shook the buildings below. The Israeli military urged civilians already rattled by the earlier wave of missiles to head to shelter as missiles damaged homes and killed two people. Iranian missile strike Israel. A hospital in Tel Aviv treated 7 people wounded in the second Iranian barrage. All but one of them had light injuries. Israel's fire and rescue services said they were injured when a projectile hit a building in the city. Hours later, an Iranian missile struck near homes in the central Israel city of Rishon LeZion, killing 2 people and injuring 19, according to Israel's paramedic service, Magen David Adom. I don't know. Israel's fire and rescue service said 4 homes were severely damaged. Israeli strikes around Iran's capital. Now, guys, they are targeting the nuclear facilities as well as the generals. Let me scroll down here and see if we have anything on that. Yeah, they targeted that building. Iran's semi-official Tasman news agency is reporting a fire at Tehran's Merabat International Airport, with a video posted on X of a column of smoke and orange flames rising from what the outlet said was the airport. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said in a recorded message Friday, "We will not allow them to escape safely from this great crime they committed." Iran's UN ambassador said 78 people were killed and more than 320 wounded in Israeli attacks. Israel's paramedic services said 34 people were wounded in the barrage on the Tel Aviv area, including a woman who was critically injured after being trapped under rubble. In Ramat Gan, east of Tel Aviv, an Associated Press journalist saw burned out cars and at least 3 damaged houses, including one where the front was nearly entirely torn away. U.S. ground-based air defense systems in the region were helping to shoot down Iranian missiles, said a U.S. official who spoke on a condition of anonymity to discuss the measures. Israel's ongoing airstrikes and intelligence operation and Iran's retaliation raised concerns about all-out war between the countries and propelled the region already on edge into even greater upheaval. Israel had long threatened such a strike, and successive American administrations sought to prevent it, fearing it would ignite a wider conflict across the Middle East and possibly be ineffective at destroying Iran's dispersed and hardened nuclear program. But a confluence of developments triggered by Hamas, plus the re-election of Donald Trump, created the conditions that allowed Israel to finally follow through on its threats. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the U.S. was informed in advance of the attacks. On Thursday, Iran had been censured by the UN's atomic watchdog for not complying with obligations meant to prevent it from developing a nuclear weapon. And again, guys, full stop. You're not allowing the independent organization to make sure that you are not developing a nuclear weapon. And on top of that, we have proven intel that you were enriching uranium. Well, I mean, like I said, guys, multiples past the point of just of what is needed for civilian nuclear power. So tell me what they are doing with that. Like, it just does not make sense on why on saying that they aren't making a nuclear weapon. Yes, they aren't actively putting the pieces together for the bomb, but they have all the pieces there. It does not take that long, based on my research, to actually develop the nuclear weapon once the enrichment of uranium is at that point, and you have ballistic missiles, which Iran does, and you have warheads that are capable of actually distributing the nuclear warhead. Okay, that is a problem. That is a very big problem because Iran is captured with ideology. Okay, they are extreme Islamic people, and not all of Iran. Okay, but when it comes to the leadership in Iran, that government structure is extreme to all ends. Okay, and we got a couple of video clips to kind of show you exactly what we're talking about. But what the Iran leader says about the United States and says about Western countries in general, it's very disturbing. And again, should be a reason that we need to make sure they never have a nuclear bomb. And again, I say that without wanting to go into a direct war. Okay, people that voted for Donald Trump, we voted because he actually gave us peace through strength. Okay, and you can tell that he is trying to hold off from getting US directly involved. And it seems like we may have to send in a couple bombers because we're the only country that has these bunker buster bombs that can actually target the nuclear facility that's in Fordo, that is inside of a mountain. Okay, they put this nuclear facility deep inside of a mountain, and nobody has these bombs but us. I don't want to use that because if we use that, that's almost directly involved, and I feel like that's just going to drag us deeper into the conflict. So I'm really hoping that Iran comes to the table so we don't have to get to that. But it's just a bad situation. It's a bad situation. But there's not any other person. If Kamala Harris was involved in this, I'd be way more worried than if Donald Trump was. You know. But we'll just keep pushing and see what we got here. But I'm telling you guys, it's something that's worrying, but I'm not too worried. Okay, Donald Trump cares about the economy. He knows if we get into a full blown out war with Iran, it's going to be bad economically. Okay, it is what it is. So I think he's going to do everything possible to avoid direct conflict. And he doesn't want to send U.S. troops to Iran. It's not in his cards of what he really wants to do in his presidency, to be honest. All right, but let's move over, and we'll get right over here to this other one with CNN. Iran's supreme leader cannot continue to exist, Israel's defense minister says after hospital strike. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, cannot be allowed to continue to exist, Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, said today after an Israeli hospital was struck by an Iranian missile. Speaking to reporters in the central city of Holon, which was also targeted by Iran overnight, Katz compared Khamenei to the German dictator of Adolf Hitler. A dictator like Khamenei, who's heading a state like Iran, who set himself the goal of destroying the state of Israel, he can no longer continue to exist. Khamenei is the modern Hitler, he added. Dozens of people were injured in the strike on the Soroka Medical Center, which Iran said targeted a command and control center nearby. Israel said it attacked Iran last week to prevent its adversary from building a nuclear weapon, but Katz's comment is the latest in a series of statements by Israeli leaders signaling the goals of Israel's campaign may not stop there. Iran faces near total internet blackout. Internet connectivity across the country plummeted from 78% to just 3% on Wednesday, according to data from NetBlocks, a non-governmental organization that monitors internet governance. Iran's Ministry of Information and Communications Technology said it had imposed temporary internet restrictions, citing security concerns. The country had been experiencing partial internet outages since Israeli attacks began. The amount of people connected to the internet compared to usual levels has resulted in a gradual decrease in internet connectivity as residents evacuate from Tehran and other major cities and businesses close. I mean, that's just crazy, guys. And then we got here China. China's Z calls on major powers to cool Iran conflict during Putin call and thinly veiled message to the U.S. China leader Xi Jinping has called on major powers to help de-escalate the Iran conflict during a phone call with Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in a thinly veiled message to President Trump as he weighs U.S. involvement. The two condemned Israel's actions against Iran during the call, with Putin again offering to mediate. Without naming the U.S., Xi said the international community, especially major powers that have a special influence on the parties to the conflict, should make efforts to promote the cooling of the situation, not the opposite. Xi said there should be an immediate truce, urging both sides, but especially Israel, to end hostilities. Now, again, guys, the reason why he's saying this is because they are in decent relations with Iran, okay? And I think it's kind of telling that they're not actually actually supporting Iran in this. They're trying to stay out of it as much as possible. Okay. Nobody wants to get directly involved in this, but to say that Israel is in the wrong for this, I don't know if I buy that, guys. And I'm not, I really am kind of neutral on Israel. I mean, they're an ally, but do I think we send them way too much money? Yeah. Do I think they have enough military capability to where they can fight their own wars if they decide to do so? Yeah, we don't need to be involved in every single conflict, okay? The only thing that sucks is this conflict does actually mess with us. I mean, it really does mess with us, guys, because if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, it's bad for the entire world, but especially for Western countries, okay? So we don't want to get involved. I'm actually kind of happy Israel is kind of doing our dirty work a little bit, where we're able to say we are not involved. Everyone in the Trump administration has been putting it out there. We are not directly involved, but we are moving military assets into the region, obviously to help support Israel and shooting down missiles, stuff like that. I hope that is as far as we go when it comes to this, guys. We don't need to get any deeper. I just feel like if we help bomb the nuclear facility, that might be too much involvement to not say that we are not directly involved in the situation. You know what I mean? So that is my hope. I think Donald Trump understands what's at risk when it comes to the economic situation. He cares about getting us back on track economically more than anything. Okay, that is his number one objective other than the border, which he's basically getting taken care of. Okay, so I just don't see him wanting to if he can help it. If he can help it, we won't get involved in this. And I think that's why he's using so much restraint. He's trying to get Iran to the table. Okay, and we also have a little video clip for that. So let me transfer over there and we'll see what we got there as well.
Simple. If they think that it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon, then they should oppose me. But nobody thinks it's okay. People that don't want, I don't want to fight either. I'm not looking to fight. But if it's a choice between fighting and them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do. Maybe we won't have to fight. Don't forget, we haven't been fighting. We add a certain amount of genius to everything, but we haven't been fighting at all. Israel's done a very good job of that. I have ideas as to what to do, but I haven't made a final. I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due, because things change. I mean, especially with war. Very simple. If they think that it's okay for...
See, guys, and again, that just kind of shows you a glimpse into his thinking on this. He is not trying to show any cards. He wants Iran to make a deal. He's been trying to get Iran to agree to a deal, but there cannot be any enrichment in uranium past civilian use. And they are way past that number. Okay, guys? I mean, way past that number. So it's just kind of concerning. And again, Donald Trump does not want to get directly involved. He's hoping that we can avoid this, especially based on what he just said there. You can kind of tell exactly that's what his thinking is. He's hoping that he can wait on to the very last minute and Iran will come to the table. So we will see if that happens. Now, to go back to what they were saying about, or what Israel's spokesperson was saying about Iran's leader being like Adolf Hitler, it's not just an Israel spokesperson that's saying that, okay? There's actually MBS of Saudi Arabia. He actually is saying that as well. And this is from 7 years ago that he said this about Khamenei. So let's watch this, and just so you can have an idea exactly what is being said here.
You've been rivals for centuries. At its heart, what is this rift about? Is it a battle for Islam?
Iran is not a rival to Saudi Arabia. Its army is not among the top 5 armies in the Muslim world. The Saudi economy is larger than the Iranian economy. Iran is far from being equal to Saudi Arabia.
But I've seen that you called the Ayatollah Khamenei the new Hitler of the Middle East.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because he wants to expand. He wants to create his own project in the Middle East, very much like Hitler, who wanted to expand at the time. Many countries around the world and in Europe did not realize how dangerous Hitler was until what happened happened. I don't want to see the same events happening in the Middle East.
Does Saudi Arabia need nuclear weapons to counter Iran?
Saudi Arabia does not want to acquire any nuclear bomb. But without a doubt, if Iran developed a nuclear bomb, we will follow suit as soon as possible.
See, guys, and that just shows you, like, the leadership in Iran is very extreme. Even other Muslim countries know how extreme the leader of Iran is. You know what I mean, guys? So this is not something we take lightly. Iran cannot get a nuclear bomb. They can't even be on the doorstep. They can't have the IKEA parts in the box that all they got to do is just assemble it and bam, they got it. Okay? If they have all of the pieces, all of the major pieces to make a nuclear bomb, we cannot allow that. They are way too extreme. And when you're talking about nuclear power, it can wipe everybody off the face of the earth if we have a nuclear war that happens because some crazy ideological country decides to use it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's why it's kind of concerning about North Korea, but it kind of seems like they understand, at least the leadership kind of understands how small and cornered they are. They're not going to use it unless they absolutely need to. Iran, on the other hand, I just feel like the moment that they have it, especially Israel's gone first. They're just going to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. I don't think there's any doubt about that when you look at it from a non-biased viewpoint. Just look at the facts. Look at what they say about Israel. Look at what they say about the West in general. And I actually got a video clip showing you what the Ayatollah actually says about it. And it's just absolutely insane, guys. Absolutely insane. So we're going to go into that real quick as well. So hold on one sec.
این مسئله آمریکا و ایران اینی که شما میگید مرگ بر آمریکا، این یه شعار نیست صرفاً. این یک خط مشیه. علتش هم همینیست که گفتم. آمریکایی‌ها سالهای متمادی از سالهای میانی دهه 20 به آخر دهه 50 30 سال در ایران هر کار توانستن علیه ملت ایران کردن. هر جور توانستن ضربه زدن. از لحاظ مالی، از لحاظ اقتصادی، از لحاظ سیاسی، از لحاظ علمی، از لحاظ اخلاقی. اگر حمایت آمریکا نبود، اگر پشتیبانی‌های تسلیحاتی آمریکا نبود، دولت فاسد جعلی دروغین رژیم صهیونیستی در همون هفته اول از بین رفته بود، بر افتاده بود. آمریکایی‌ها پشت اینها قرار دارن. تو همین کشورهای غربی، در انگلیس، در فرانسه، در ایتالیا، در خود آمریکا، ایالت‌های مختلف، مردم با جمعیت‌های انبوه میان توی خیابان علیه اسرائیل و در موارد بسیاری علیه آمریکا شعار میدن. آبروی اینها رفت. اینها واقعا هیچ علاجی ندارن، نمیتونن توجیه کنن. لذا میبینید یک ابلهی پیدا میشه میگه اجتماع مردم در انگلیس کار ایرانه. لابد بسیج لندن این کار رو کرده، بسیج پاریس این کار کرده.
Now, again, guys, this is not all of Iran, okay? A lot of the Iranian people do not like the leadership, okay? So when they show you all the people in the crowd, those are a lot of supporters, obviously, but that is not the entire country. Iran is a huge country. It's over 92 million people in that country, okay? It's more than 2 times the size of Texas. It's absolutely huge, okay? But still, it's very worrying when you hear that. It's not a slogan. Death to America is not a slogan, according to him. It is a policy. And all because we support Israel and the fact that they have a Jewish state, because they want Islam to be the dominant religion in the entire region, if not the entire world, is what the main goal is. And again, guys, I don't care if you're Islam. I'm not against the religion itself. I'm against the extreme side of that religion, because they are calling for the Antifada. They're calling for the absolute destruction of all Jews. I mean, that's what the extreme side of Islam is, and that's what's crazy. Okay, but let's scroll down here too and look at this. This is absolutely nuts as well.
گله میکنن که چرا ملت ایران میگن مرگ بر آمریکا؟ اولا بنده این رو برای حضرات بزرگان آمریکایی روشن کنم. مرگ بر آمریکا یعنی مرگ بر ترامپ و جان بولتون و پومپئو.
See, and he's like, it just means death to Donald Trump and his whole administration. And I think that's absolute BS too, because they've been saying this. They've been saying death to America for decades now. Okay, decades, going all the way back to the 90s. Okay, so it's really disingenuous when he says that, because obviously he's meaning way more than that. But Donald Trump is actually trying to put his foot down and saying Iran will not get a nuclear bomb, and we can't. For the good of the entire world, Iran cannot get a nuclear bomb, especially after seeing those videos and exactly what they think about not just Israel, but all Western countries that support Israel as well. You know what I mean, guys? So let's hope and pray that Donald Trump is able to keep us out of this conflict directly, and obviously stop Iran from developing or being able to quickly develop a nuclear bomb, especially, and look this up, guys, Google it, they have enriched uranium well past what is needed for civilian nuclear use. And they've already told the Trump administration in any type of nuclear deal talks that they've had that they will not stop enriching uranium. And they are not allowing a third-party organization to come in and make sure they aren't developing a nuclear bomb. I don't know what else you need to know that if both of those things are true, which they are factually true, then what are we doing? Like, obviously they're building something, or they're at least making it to where they can build it very quickly when needed. And that's a problem. All right, guys. But again, let's just say a prayer for the country. Let's say a prayer for the entire world that we can avoid a World War III type situation and a nuclear war type of a situation. I think that's what we all want, no matter what side of the aisle or part of the world that you're in. We should all want that. All right, guys. But I hope you have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend coming up. I know we're getting close to the weekend, and I'll see you in that next video.